Planning, also called forethought, is the process of thinking about and organizing the activities required to achieve a desired goal. Planning involves the creation and maintenance of a plan. As such, planning is a fundamental property of intelligent behavior. This thought process is essential to the creation and refinement of a plan, or integration of it with other plans, that is, it combines forecasting of developments with the preparation of scenarios of how to react to them. An important, albeit often ignored aspect of planning is the relationship it holds with forecasting. Forecasting can be described as predicting what the future will look like, whereas planning predicts what the future should look like. The counterpart to planning is spontaneous order. Psychological aspects. The striatum, part of the basal ganglia. Neural pathways between the striatum and the frontal lobe have been implicated in planning function. Planning is one of the executive functions of the brain, encompassing the neurological processes involved in the formulation, evaluation, and selection of a sequence of thoughts and actions to achieve a desired goal. Various studies utilizing a combination of neuropsychological, neuropharmacological, and functional neuroimaging approaches have suggested there is a positive relationship between impaired planning ability and damage to the frontal lobe. A specific area within the mid-dorsolateral frontal cortex located in the frontal lobe has been implicated as playing an intrinsic role in both cognitive planning and associated executive traits such as working memory. Disruption of the neural pathways via various mechanisms such as traumatic brain injury or the effects of neurodegenerative diseases between this area of the frontal cortex and the basal ganglia, specifically the striatum corticostriatal pathway, may disrupt the processes required for normal planning function. Individuals who were born very low birth weight, 1,500 grams, and extremely low birth weight, ELBW, are at greater risk for various cognitive deficits including planning ability. Neuropsychological tests. Animation of a 4-disc version of the Tower of Hanoi. There are a variety of neuropsychological tests which can be used to measure variance of planning ability between the subject and controls. Tower of Hanoi, TOHR, a puzzle invented in 1883 by the French mathematician Edouard Lucas. There are different variations of the puzzle. The classic version consists of 3 rods and usually 7 to 9 discs of subsequently smaller size. Planning is a key component of the problem-solving skills necessary to achieve the objective, which is to move the entire stack to another rod, obeying the following rules. Only 1 disc may be moved at a time. Each move consists of taking the upper disc from one of the rods and sliding it onto another rod, on top of the other discs that may already be present on that rod. No disc may be placed on top of a smaller disc. Screenshot of the PEBL psychology software running the Tower of London test. Tower of London, TOL, is another test that was developed in 1992, Chalice 1992, specifically to detect deficits in planning as may occur with damage to the frontal lobe. Test participants with damage to the left anterior frontal lobe demonstrated planning deficits, i.e., greater number of moves required for solution. In test participants with damage to the right anterior and left or right posterior areas of the frontal lobes showed no impairment. The results implicating the left anterior frontal lobe's involvement in solving the TOL were supported in concomitant neuroimaging studies which also showed a reduction in regional cerebral blood flow to the left prefrontal lobe. For the number of moves, a significant negative correlation was observed for the left prefrontal area, i.e. subjects that took more time planning their moves showed greater activation in the left prefrontal area. Planning and public policy. Public policy planning includes environmental, land use, regional, urban and spatial planning. In many countries, the operation of a town and country planning system is often referred to as planning, and the professionals which operate the system are known as planners. It is a conscious as well as subconscious activity. It is an anticipatory decision-making process that helps in coping with complexities. It is deciding future course of action from amongst alternatives. It is a process that involves making and evaluating each set of interrelated decisions. It is selection of missions, objectives, and translation of knowledge into action. A planned performance brings better results compared to an unplanned one. A manager's job is planning, monitoring, and controlling. Planning and goal setting are important traits of an organization. It is done at all levels of the organization. Planning includes the plan, the thought process, action, and implementation. Planning gives more power over the future. Planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who should do it. This bridges the gap from where the organization is to where it wants to be. The planning function involves establishing goals and arranging them in logical order. Planning process. Example of planning process framework. 1. Choosing a destination. 2. Evaluating alternative routes. And 3. Deciding the specific course of your plan. In organizations, planning is a management process concerned with defining goals for company's future direction and determining on the missions and resources to achieve those targets. To meet the goals, managers may develop plans such as a business plan or a marketing plan. Planning always has a purpose. The purpose may be achievement of certain goals or targets. Main characteristics of planning in organizations are: planning increases the efficiency of an organization. It reduces the risks involved in modern business activities. It facilitates bringing the available time and resources. The concept of planning is to identify what the organization wants to do by using the 4 questions, which are: where are we today in terms of our business or strategy planning? Where are we going? Where do we want to go? How are we going to get there?